This is Grilled, the Staff Canteen podcast for chefs. My name is Cara Houchin, editor of the Staff Canteen, and in this episode we speak to Alex Claridge. Our deputy editor Tanny Dawn Hiscox caught up with Alex to find out if he had been keeping out of trouble lately. Birmingham born and bred, he's not one to keep his opinions to himself, and he reveals in this episode his passion behind his growing culinary empire.
So would you like to tell me when you decided you wanted to become a chef?
I'd always done creative stuff, like, I did music extensively, like my teenage years, more from when I was a kid. And I started learning the piano when I was 2. And I think music was probably kind of my first love, in all honesty. But the problem is that I've got kind of a self-destructive streak where if it's not something I can be the best at, I don't want to do it. And I actually recorded an album with my band when I was 18, and I absolutely fucking hated the album. Really, really, really hated it. So I sold all the guitars, quit music, and food was kind of just me trying to find something else creative I could do to replace that. So I cooked at uni for, a mixture of money and trying to get girls to sleep with me. But the girls bit didn't work out that well, but I did quite enjoy the cooking. But I think it's informed everything I do. Like, I like creativity. It's not inherently I have a bloody desire to be a chef. Like, who fucking would? Spend your entire life, like, constantly working, really. It's not for faint-hearted, but as a creative format, I think it's amazing. I think it's such a visceral, direct way to kind of create something and then share it with people. And I think, at the risk of sounding like proper fucking soppy, I quite like the fact that food's universal. You don't need to speak English to understand good food. And I think that kind of communality of it, that ability to bring people together and stuff, that's a really big thing for me. So, I don't want to be a chef. I want to create cool stuff. It just so happens that I've kind of settled on food as kind of the way I guess I do that, the way I fulfill it.
And had you not been a musician and had you not been a chef?
I imagine professional model, but no. Like fuck I would have. I don't really know. Possibly a writer. Like when I was at uni, I studied English because I like writing, and it's the same story. Like, I like to tell stories. That's kind of it. It's just as opposed to telling stories, in a book, I'd rather do it on a plate. Oh God, that's literally the worst thing I've ever said. I will probably drink some bleach later, but.
So where did you work before you opened the Wilderness?
Nowhere exciting whatsoever.
Okay.
I just worked in bistros, cafes, pubs.
Is that all in Birmingham?
Across Birmingham, Manchester, London. I did some staging and kind of bits and bobs over in Los Angeles, which is really cool because it's such a different set of produce, and Californian kitchens are very, very different to British kitchens. There's a lot more kind of cult of chef over there, I think, in a lot of ways. There's more respect for kind of the profession in the industry over there than there is over here, and they're very, very clean. Like Californian food hygiene laws are ridiculous. But mostly it's like, so I love the produce, and like it was an excuse to go and have a dilly-dally over in America for a bit.
Fair enough.
But no, nowhere exciting. Like, my CV doesn't read like a list of that. But I think, I am an R. Like, I toss and turn about whether I wish I'd come from a more traditional route, but I think in a lot of ways I don't, because it's never been me going, oh, awesome, I want to be a chef. It's always been, awesome, I want to create cool stuff that makes people feel this. There's always been a limit to how much I felt I could kind of achieve within the normal framework of stuff. There's been a lot about kind of been a lot about kind of surrounding myself with, chefs from all sorts of backgrounds, which gives us kind of, I like to think that I look at it very differently because I've had a less orthodox kind of journey through the industry. But then, it's balanced with then, we've got chefs who've done the opposite, who at 16 knew they wanted to be a chef, and they've kind of come through a very classical route, and it kind of gives us a really nice breadth, I guess, within what, me and my guys are trying to achieve.
And did you go into it on your own? Was it your idea?
The Wilderness?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was, I scribbled it down on a piece of paper about 8 years ago, the kind of crux of what I wanted to do with it, what I wanted to try and achieve with a restaurant. And I was working as a development chef for like a small little kind of company that we're trying to get into, doing all sorts of, like airline food and that sort of thing. I just thought, fuck this, forget me kippers. I'm working really hard. I'd rather work really hard for myself. So it was literally like, me, a suitcase, a couple of pots and pans, and one of the chefs orders, and that was how it started.
Has it always been in the jewellery quarter?
Nah. We started as a pop-up in a suburb called Kingfish. That did well. That kind of stayed full. So we moved to the city, did another pop-up in town. We then took a tiny little space, which was shared with an art gallery on like a little back street behind New Street Station in the middle of the city. It was like, I look at it now and I go like, I don't even understand how we ever coped. Like, it was fucking insane. Like, tiny little kitchen in the back of an art gallery. It's a bit of a weird one, but I think I've always been. There's always a reason why it's not a good time. There's always do you know what I mean? There's always I think for chefs we can sometimes always go, oh, I need this to do that, or I haven't got this resource, or I need this expensive piece of kit. You don't. You need a knife and heat. That's it, really. Yeah. And we've always tried to embody that. We will, I guess, be kind of quite punk in that sense of we'll do it ourselves. If it means that we have to think outside the box for how we do it, we will. So we started over there, and then moved into the jewellery quarter last April, about a year ago. And it's been a constant evolution, but that's kind of what I love about it. I know where our core values lie. I know what I want my food to kind of say.
And what is that? So you mentioned what you're trying to achieve with the wilderness. If you had to sum that up.
I want to make people happy. I want to piss people off. And then ultimately, I know it sounds daft, but when I first started it, what we do was very kind of influenced by Noma and influenced by kind of new Nordic food. And, I was going out, I was picking a lot of it myself. And, I wanted to kind of capture, time and space and memory and nostalgia and everything. And then kind of had a bit of an epiphany. We had a bit of a blip on that where I got sued by Daniel Hume. They were very keen for us to change our name because it used to be called Nomads.
Okay, yeah.
I still find it a little bit of a stretch that you can achieve a 20-cover restaurant in an art gallery in the back streets of Birmingham with a hotel. But, intellectual property law doesn't really work on common sense. It works on who's got the most money and the biggest bollocks. And voluptuous as my testicles are, in the end, I lost that fight. And when I kind of came back from it, that's a fucking line, isn't it? Voluptuous as my testicles are. If that's not the lead for this, I don't know what is. I lost that fight. And I kind of came back and I kind of looked at it again. And I wanted my food to, in some way, do exactly the same thing, to capture the place that I'm from, to capture the city that I grew up in, to capture the food that has thus far been formative for me. But then when you look at it, like, this is not a city built on running through a fucking field at 5 a.m. picking flowers, which has been blessed by pixies.
Not really. That's not really how I picture Birmingham in my head.
That speaks in no way as to what the experiences of growing up in Birmingham,
Did you grow up in central Birmingham? No,
I grew up in a little suburb called Hall Green, just outside the Bolton Triangle. But, with that, I grew up eating a lot of Asian food. But, basically junk food and kind of international. Like, that was Birmingham. When I left the city, it blew my fucking mind that, I went to uni in Nottingham and spent more time in Manchester in the north. It blew my mind that people didn't see, like, samosas as a national dish. Because that, for me, was the fabric of what I grew up eating. And everything we do now, we're trying to take the influence of junk food, to take the influence of spice and heat and kind of international cooking and incorporate that into our food with the goal of kind of providing, the biggest possible flavours we can. But in doing so, reminding people that good food doesn't have to be fancy or exclusive. It's elevating food that's the need, the fabric of what Birmingham really is. We are a very reductive city. If you find any London press publication and I have to talk about Birmingham's food scene, they'll say, they've got X number of Michelin stars and they've been to the Baltic. That's a really fucking reductive way of identifying what the city is. So, all we're ever trying to do with the wilderness is to capture the place we're from. Which is why, we're in the jewellery quarter, which is, was an industrial heartland in the country. We play kind of heavy metal and rock and roll because this is the city that gave the world Ozzy Osbourne, and that's the music that I grew up listening to. We serve food that's as much inspired by McDonald's as it is by any kind of classical French stuff, because it speaks more to me what the city is and what it means to me as someone from that place. And the same with, dealing with head chef, exactly the same story. Grew up in Birmingham. We're cooking the food that we know and love from when we were younger, and we're just trying to elevate it, and in doing so remind people of just how fucking life is suddenly good some of it is. Because people always ask chefs, what's your favourite food? Oh, what restaurants inspire you? Or, what do you love? But honest to God, you find me a chef on a Saturday night after finish service, if you give them a fucking greasy burger, they're not going to be happy as Larry. I'd much rather do stuff that you can see people actually eat. I want to cook everyday food. I want to cook food that makes people feel that familiarity. And, it's been a big part of us with, I jest a little bit when I say I want to make people happy and want to piss people off, but I'm not interested in cultivating a restaurant that's for a particular kind of person, a particular class of person, or, for a particular kind of wealth. I'm not interested in it. I want it to be, a restaurant that's not for everybody. I want it to be a restaurant that's for, for the misfits, for the weirdos, for the people who don't really do fine dining normally. And, in doing so, they come to a restaurant that's, serving food that's ambitious and uses produce from all over the world and uses the best quality stuff it possibly can. But fundamentally, they're still sitting down and they're eating flavours that taste like a Big Mac whilst they're listening to the Rolling Stones. There's a lot of familiarity in that. And I think that's really powerful. And, I like to think it makes it an easier environment for guests to kind of find things themselves in as well.
And presumably, overwhelmingly, it's been well received.
I'm still here.
Are your customers generally from in and around Birmingham?
It's changing. We are getting, the kind of longer we've done this and the more people recognise that what we're doing is interesting, the more appetite there is for this kind of modern Brummie cuisine.
Yeah.
We are getting people coming from further afield, which is awesome. That's still really, really lovely, really flattering when people travel a long way to come and eat with you. I think our core customer base, they're incredible. We have some of the most loyal guests, that I think I could ever ask for. Who do anything for us, and they follow the journey with us, through the good stuff, and occasionally the stupid stuff that we get stuck into. I think throughout, when I was cooking in restaurants, there was always this attitude of, we're here to cook food, we're not allowed to have an opinion on that, we shouldn't say that, the guest is always right, and none of that really tallies with me. So all we've done is enact a restaurant really that there's very little bullshit, but, it's very sincere. The love for what we do is sincere. Our passion for trying to make people feel good about themselves is sincere, and, I think for me that's what hospitality should embody. It's about making people happy, that's it. Everyone's going to die. I'm not saving it, I'm not saving lives. I'm not a surgeon. I'm just trying to make someone happy, give them an escape from it all. You
have a tasting menu on, right?
We do, yeah. The tasting menu format is not popular as it once was. I know there's, generally speaking, in the industry, I think, there's a real move in some ways away from it. But if you're trying to do a menu that's got an element of narrative to it, trying to do a menu that's kind of got a story to tell, it works well for what we're trying to do. And it means that from a kind of culinary perspective, we can really focus. We don't have the distraction of kind of a la carte or the problem of having to try and kind of deal with lots of different orders on the table. We do what we do. We do it to the absolute best of our ability. But that kind of singularity of vision, I think, is really important for us to be able to keep growing and refining what we are.
What's your plan for the future? Would you say that you're in are you happy? Do you want to?
Everyone asks that question. Like, well, chef, are you happy? Like, Jesus. I just want to keep doing what I do and keep making it better. Really, that's it.
Yeah.
I think when I first started it, you kind of set yourself. You have all these ideas in your head of, I want to do this, I want to do that. I don't. I love what we do. I love the food we do. I love the team that I have. And I love our guests. I just want to keep doing what we do and just making it better, really. And I think actually, if you set yourself a kind of something which is achievable, something which is realistic, something which kind of stays pretty humble, I think it sets you up a lot better.
Would you see yourself expanding or opening a second branch or anything like that, or is your idea to stay close to what you?
No, the Wilderness is a one-off. I've got a cocktail bar.
Yeah.
In the city centre called Nocturnal Animals, but that I enjoy. That's I guess that's a bit more volume-led.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just a cool thing to do. And we've kind of got that in the arsenal. And I've got a couple of other kind of, I guess, projects that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But the Wilderness is a one-off. We're looking at potentially moving it to somewhere else in the Jury Quarter later in the year.
Yeah.
This will give us a little bit more space. mean we can kind of, keep improving what we do and improve the whole guest experience. But fundamentally, if it ain't broke, why fix it? I'm not looking to reinvent the wheel. Like, I think, we've got to a point in the restaurants kind of, I guess we've been through that awkward adolescent phase when we're experimenting. We know what we do, we know what we enjoy, we have an audience. I just want to keep doing that, but better, really.
I usually end interviews by asking people what advice they'd give to young chefs or aspiring chefs.
I like the fact that you've tempered that with that usually. Bizarrely, I think expose yourself to as many ideas as possible. Learn what you like, learn what you don't like. I think it's really important to learn the value of failure. I've learned so much more through the stuff I fucked up than the stuff that I've succeeded at.
Yeah.
And that's not saying make peace with fucking stuff up. I'm not saying you should go and set your agenda as make mistakes. But I think, particularly that kind of transition, I guess, as I'm at now from, being a chef who also runs a business, you have to always take the learning. You have to always, look at every situation and realise that there's something valuable to take from it. There's always that. And then I think fundamentally, I know it sounds daft, but the biggest thing that's enabled me to do what I want is learning to just channel the life of fun and power of not giving a fuck. Don't take it too seriously. Like, chefs kill themselves for this. Literally, they push themselves to the absolute limits. And I'm not saying that I'm exactly well adjusted, but don't lose sight. It's only food. It should be fun.
Yeah.
The minute you take it too serious, or you believe your own hype, or you kind of think that what you do is this life of fucking thing that's going to fix it all. It's not. Do you know what I mean? We're very lucky, particularly at the level that I cook at and the level that my team gets to kind of work at. We're very lucky. We are getting to do what we want. We're getting to kind of work with produce that we adore, that still excites me, still kind of sends a shiver down my spine. And we get to do that day in, day out. I think you should really recognise that, hard as it is, you're doing something you love, and that puts you in a pretty small percentage these days.
Yeah.
So enjoy it. Don't lose sight of that. The minute you stop enjoying food, the minute it's no longer fun for you, I don't think you should be doing it.
Yeah.
So, give fewer fucks, make mistakes, learn as much as you can, and don't sweat the small stuff. No one gets out alive. But a bit nihilistic, really, isn't it? But there we go. I'm not renowned for my sunshine, so might as well provide a bit of shade.
Yeah, you're renowned for choosing your words carefully at all times.
I don't know what you're on about. I'm an angel.
Have you been in trouble lately? I know you got in trouble at some point.
Yeah.
Your Twitter feed is populated by angry conversations. Have you had any recent incidents?
Yeah, well, my problem is, it's something which I struggle with, because in all honesty, it's about my food. I don't really, my personal opinions or who I am as a person is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Really. But that's not the way it works. I know that. I've learned that the hard way. The local press and me have got, an ongoing hate-hate relationship. They 2 weeks ago they ran a story linking me to gun crime because one of my other projects is a cocktail bar, and we did a fictional video, a kind of, an arty-farty, probably pretentious, but an arty video about this cocktail experience.
Mm-hmm.
And it was inspired by Tarantino and pretty gritty kind of filmmakers.
Yeah.
One fucking screen capture from that with me holding a handgun, and that went quite badly.
Oh dear.
I apologise for it, but in the barrel of journalism, if you want to try and find a screen capture from a video that I was in and allege that it means I'm a fucking gun lord, on that basis, Brad Pitt killed an awful lot of people. But I don't think he does. It's called acting. And then the week after that, I announced I had a new menu at the cocktail bar, and they took the press release and announced I was closing the restaurant. So that was fun. Yeah, it's like growing up in Birmingham, if someone throws a punch, I'm afraid I'm not the person to turn the other cheek. I'm the person who's going to smack you back in the fucking mouth. That's not exactly how PR works traditionally, but, in and of itself, I think fair play. I'm not interested in, if we make a mistake, we'll own it. So if you've been a dickhead, then I'm not going to bend the knee. Any of the stuff on my Twitter, it's not because I'm inherently an angry person or, an arsehole. I mean, I am, but we'll keep off record, the arsehole bit. It's just, if someone says something that's just bollocks, or indeed, and this is what gets my goat the most, if someone treats my staff in the wrong way, like, you know, I'm not the hired help, you know, I'm not here to say the customer's right. If you're being rude or a prick, I don't want your money, I just want you to fuck off out my face. Yeah. And I know that's not the popular viewpoint, but, you know, I think we need to stand up for our staff, we need to stand up for our industry. And if customers act in a way that is childish or lacking in sort of decent manners, I think you know, operators need to be brave enough to say, you know what, nah, it's not all right, it's not good.
And perhaps that earns you the respect from the right kind of people.
Well, exactly, you know, for any time where we've, you know, got into a little bit of trouble, you know, yeah, it probably makes us a bit Marmite. Some people look at it and think, what an arsehole. Some people are kind enough to send me messages telling me that I'm an arsehole.
What, private?
But, you know, all sorts, like, considering this, you know, I had, like, last year we had an article where the Daily Mail thought they'd say that I was pro-Brexit in it. No, Brexit in it. And, like, I had fucking death threats off that, you know, like, but people love to be angry, you know, the irony of hospitality is that people are willing to overlook massive things like governments which are busy trying to kind of annihilate any sense of kind of social conscience, or, you know, they do a job that they hate every day. And they're not willing to be angry about that. They like to get angry about the little stuff because they don't know how to enact their anger in a positive way against the real things that make life a bit shit. So they want to get angry because the wine they want's not in stock, or because they don't like the music I play in a restaurant. It's just a bit fucking silly, really. But really, it's easy to ask me, are you not in trouble at the moment? And I'm very pleased to say that I've had
Today so far.
Today so far, but I have just released I've released my own whiskey.
Nice.
It's called the Brexit blend. So I imagine I've got a couple of days grace before that blows up in my face. But I think there's plenty of people who, you know, and within the industry, I'm very well aware that even people who read anything you write, there will be people who will say, oh, you know, it's just silliness, or like me causing trouble, or me kind of, you know, willing to be kind of a provocateur. But I think that you need that creatively. I think if you're not willing to push boundaries, you're not willing to kind of test where the line is, the line doesn't move. I'm sure I misjudge it sometimes. My poor mother, you know, she's gone from collecting every press clipping she has of me to, I think, probably avoiding the press clippings she can find.
Yeah.
I love her, but, you know, I'm not causing trouble because I'm a kid, you know, I'm a grown adult. But if it's something I feel passionate about, then I'm going to stick to it. And whatever those consequences are, you know, I don't really mind. And, you know, like I said, you know, before that, to me it's about the food. The rest of it's just silliness. And yes, you know, sometimes it goes well for you, and kind of press coverage is, you know, awkward coverage. Sometimes it goes badly for you, but, you know, I'd rather ultimately let me be judged by my food. You know, anyone who labours under the misapprehension that you go to a restaurant because you think the chef's a nice guy, that's not how it works. That's
really why you choose to eat out, right?
Yeah, you know, if that's why you're going to a restaurant, you're labouring under a serious misunderstanding of the kind of people that typically love food to the degree that they'll give their life to it. Just try me hard to stay out of trouble this week, and I think it's going quite well.
Good. We're almost there. It's Friday.
I don't know. I'm sure that I act like a dickhead a lot of the time and I need to wind my neck in, but I'd rather just be a real human being. And if in a little way that makes it easier for people to kind of, you know, feel that what I'm doing or like my restaurant is accessible for them, then that's a good thing, I think.
My last question is going to be, do you think it's appropriate to bring my boyfriend's mum to your restaurant for dinner?
Yeah, it is. But bizarrely enough, like, you know, I promise you will struggle to find a restaurant that cares about, I guess, more. That is, you know, that is the tragic irony that you don't get. The press don't want to know when you do something special, when you go above and beyond. They don't care about the nice fluffy stories. They have a script they're following. And I say the press, like, you know, not all of them, but, you know, they'd much rather a story. I mean, look at Gary Usher and that, you know. Gary does so many lovely things for his staff and for the people around him. You know, you don't have the kind of loyalty or following he has if you're not actually a really quite special human being. I don't know him personally, but, you know, he seems like a stellar lad. But look at the press stories, like, they'll still crack out on TripAdvisor, like his TripAdvisor review stories. That's still their favourite way of doing it. It's a lot more, you know, attractive as a press article that someone's been angry or there's conflict, you should absolutely bring your mother. You know, not just because I love mums, because I do, but, you know, the actual experience is about the food. I don't walk out mid-experience and shout, fucking kick the table. Like, you know, that's not what we do. We're there to make you feel good. That's what, you know, I want to do food for kind of real brummies. You know what I mean? I don't want to do white tablecloths where you've got someone genuflecting at your table trying to kind of knock you off mid-meal. Like, I'm not looking to offer that. It's friendly people who love food, who'd like to share really good food with people who also love food. That's it. It's, you know, it's not rocket science. Thank you so much for the coverage and helping us share our weird little story.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks a lot.
We hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you have any comments, feel free to tweet us or comment on the post. We're making all of our interviews available to download. The next episode will be with Alan Patton. He voices his thoughts on veganism and why chefs need to embrace it. And finally, if you like what we do, whether it's our podcast or our videos or even our features, please head over to our Patreon page and support us there.